Fantastic. So, as I said before, I'm middle school instructional coach, and I just wanted to give you a little bit of backstory about how this whole project sort of evolved. Um, I come from elementary. I was an elementary teacher for a couple of decades before I was hired as a middle school instructional coach. And last year was my first year on this job. And my first role was to try to support the sixth grade teams to do innovative work and project-based learning, problem-based learning, and interdisciplinary work. But I was pretty nervous when I started because I came from elementary school and middle school is separate in this area. And so the first day on the job, Tina Bardwell came to me and said, "Hey," she's an eighth grade teacher, and she said, "Hey, I've got this project and I'm wondering if you could partner with me on this." And I was like, absolutely. Like I'm supposed to be promoting just the sixth grade teams. And here I've got an eighth grade teacher who's like, top dog here, who's willing to partner with me to do something. So I got so excited that I told my friend Kavita about this project. And the project was to develop, Tina wanted to take a team and develop a future city for this competition. I don't know how familiar you are with the Future City competition. I'm sure Mrs. Bardwell can fill you in on the details of that, or Maya. But in a nutshell, it's a competition where students from all over, I think, the nation work together to design a city of the future, everything from, the agriculture to the water to the economic pieces to the transportation, just all kinds of pieces, parts of our actual city. And so I got so excited. I shared with my friend Kavita Tanna, who is a global vitality coach, who at the time was in the Kenya, Tanzania area. And she said, that's what I'm doing here in Kenya and Tanzania. And I said, oh, yeah, that's interesting. And so we hatched a plan that we thought we might offer the learners an opportunity to design for and with a real community who, because of water scarcity, had to be displaced. And so they had to kind of learn how to figure out their agriculture and figure out how to create a city sort of that is planted rather than a nomadic kind of experience that they've had for, generations and generations. And so the first day we were with the team, they were deciding where the city would be planted, and they were talking about all these different places. Maya, do you remember this moment? And then Mrs. Bardwell said, "Hey, you guys, we have another opportunity if you guys are interested." And I shared that we had the opportunity to design for a real and for and with a real community called the Mashuuru. And everyone except for one team member was like, "Yeah, let's do that." And the one team member was like, this is going to be a lot harder if we're designing with a community that's already established. But it turned out that he got right on board, and they did a magnificent job. And so I'll let Maya take it from here and kind of explain the process there. And if you guys have any questions at the end, we are happy to answer them.
Who was the one team member? I don't remember that.
It was Colin. He was like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
that that's surprising.
I know, he did such a great job.
Um, I kind of updated the slideshow, so should I be like presenting that?
That would be great.
Okay, let me figure out how to share my screen.
It's that bottom green button.
Yeah, here, I need to X.
So while she's working on that, I'll tell you that this team then ended up competing at the competition and standing on a stage in front of hundreds of people and explaining how they started out to win a competition and ended up really, their hearts were really wanting to um, try to figure out a way to get water to this community that really was losing animals and, were really struggling and suffering because they don't have the water to support the community. And so it was really a beautiful transformation to see Maya and her teammates come together and work really hard to figure out how to help this community and really listen to the community and what the community needs were and are. And in the process, they met with all kinds of different people with all kinds of different expertise. I'm sure Maya will share that too.
Okay. Okay,
Beautiful.
can you see it? I don't know. Can you see like my Chrome thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you put
Okay.
it in slideshow mode right
Yeah.
there. Yeah, okay, you're good.
If it'll load. Okay. So basically, we call ourselves, we used to be the Genoa Future City team, but then we all graduated and the competition's over. So now we just call ourselves the Mashuuru Project, which, as Miss Michi explained, is just the name of the community. And then we put some of our like partners or like future partners that we hope to be more in contact with. Globally Reconnect is how we met Kavita. And then we had a friend from our school design a little logo. It's then we're part of the Westerville City Schools district, and how we're going to fight the water scarcity problem that Miss Amici was discussing earlier was through magic water, but now we have a more cheaper and direct solution. There's been a lot of developments and like ideas. Okay. Who are we? So now we're high school students. We all go to different high schools or in the district. Um, and as we were saying, we're part of Future City, which is a competition where groups from around the US would make a fictitious city that was 100 years in the future. It would have all these like really innovative creations. So our theme was climate change. And because the water scarcity problem was technically directly caused by climate change in the community, so we tried to find innovative and very extremely futuristic ways to combat it that obviously we can't implement today, but we're going to keep trying to move forward. So then we got connected to the community, and that right in the bottom right corner is a photo of the team right after competition. All my friends, Cameron, Shadley, Andrew Tran, Andrew Gould, Ben Pipo, Kaleb Tran, Paige Velegol, and Colin Fowler. So who are the Maasai? They're people that live in the Mashuuru community, and so they have to walk usually 5 to 10 miles to this nearby well for water. However, the well is getting low, like the water levels are decreasing like day by day, so we need more direct ways for them to get water and for it to be more accessible so they don't have to walk so far just for a basic human necessity. And then we have some images that we got from some friends in the community as well. So this was an old solution that we had, which is magic water, which it basically just collects water from the atmosphere and like turns it into it's like a machine, and you power it to an external source. This was costly, $153,000. You don't even want to know about some of our other ideas, which were like 10 times, if not more, that amount. But now we found way cheaper and better alternative solutions. So this is just a basic map of the community from what we can gather from like Google Maps and what we've been told. So you can see in the blue is community water points, there's private places and just other locations like the schools and churches. And they're all relatively far from each other, which is why we just want to make water more accessible for the community in general. And then, so our alternative idea would be to dig a borehole, which is much cheaper than our other ideas. And basically, it's just digging a hole like that breaks the water table so you can get water from inside the earth. And I'm sure some of my other teammates can explain it better than me. But for the total cost of digging a borehole, it would be $31,000. And we've asked people for funding. We've like reached out to our local Rotary Club, and we're planning a bunch of presentations in the future. We're talking to our superintendent on how we can fund this project. Because while it may be around 5 times cheaper, it's still $31,000. And then there's the basics for what we would need. We need to conduct a hydrology study, which is to see if we can even get water from there, and then all of the storing and just like fencing around the borehole itself. And then this is all it just goes by down each one. And then our overall impact of this is, so throughout the whole project, we made it really clear that we want to follow the United Nations set Sustainable Development Goals. Like in our competition essay, we quoted exactly what each innovation would be following. So we've been trying to do that. And we've been trying to, there's like three parts of a circular economy. So we're trying to keep all that intact while also, besides just getting water and any future things we want to do, like sustaining the culture of the community and collaborating with them over a period of time. And these are more of our partners and people, a picture of people from the community. And then, as I said, we presented in a while ago, I think it was like in August, to our Rotary Club, and their like whole mission was providing clean water. So we thought it would just be, it make perfect sense. And we gained a lot of important relationships from that. And then we have fundraisers contact lined up. We've already been in touch. We've made like contacts with people from other schools and districts. And then one of my peers, Kaleb Tran, was planning on emailing and presenting to his church and the head person there. And then just going outside the community, like what this event is, and talking to people from other school districts around Ohio. And then this is just how we were funding and stuff. And then we had a QR code set up, which I think should take you to a Google form or just like a link. It has like a bunch of lists of links that like will get you in contact with us. We have like an Instagram page. There's a form you can fill out if you're interested in like keeping in touch and things like that. And then, thank you.
So Mrs. Bardwell, are you still with us?
Yes, I got kicked off, but I was able to rejoin.
Yes. So is there anything that you would like to share?
I feel like at this point we are mostly focused on the Rotary connection and the borehole and raising funds to dig a well through design outreach and the connections that we've made with them. The amazing part to me throughout this whole process is that there's no easy solution for this community to have water. They rely on the borehole from another community member that is not really a reliable water source. And in this day and age, there's not an easy solution. The magic water and the hydro panels that we looked into are very costly, and the boreholes that we're hoping to do is not an absolute solution to the problem. And we just keep pushing to try to get their needs met, but it's not an easy solution.
Thank you, Mrs. Bardwell. So I think watching this team come together and work together so well, they had to work through many, many different challenges and overcome those challenges and rethink different ways to address things that would happen. And watching them come together and innovate collectively for a purpose beyond their own, well-being, that would serve the needs of others was really inspiring. It brought tears to both Mrs. Bardwell's and my eyes many times. And so it was an amazing thing to be a part of. So I guess I'm curious what you guys are curious about. Do you have questions for any of us?
The first thing I want to say really quickly, and then John, you can go. I'm sure we all have questions. Um, I, I love, love, love that you're helping a real community. I think that is so powerful. Um, I do have quite a few questions, like how time frame, like how long have you been working on this? And I'm assuming it's like maybe an after school type of thing, not, or is it part of the school day? Kind of just more how long you've spent on it and when you work on it.
Maya, do you want to address that, or would you like me to?
I can.
Yeah.
So for the first part, Miss Bardwell, she for the project for Future City competition, she gave us a form in September around there. Just if you want to join, feel free to join. And then I would say a week or two into it, when Miss Amici first came to our meeting, she prompted us with the idea, and this was in, again, September or October of 2022. If we wanted to collaborate with this community and do our presentation on them. So we agreed with that. And then up until January was when we were prepping for competition. We competed, we got second place in the state of Ohio. And then since then, we graduated middle school because we were eighth graders back then. And now we're all freshmen high school. And we've just been, what's it? We just been meeting whenever we can because we're all really busy, which is why I'm the only presenter here, because a lot of my friends, they have theater, they have track, and all these other commitments. It's really hectic, but it's not part of our school program. It was always an extracurricular. And during actual competition season, we were usually meeting like 2 to 3 hours, a couple days a week after school every day. And now we're just trying to meet around once every month or so and just reconnect and see where the project is heading towards.
Wow. I think what you've done and what you're still doing is powerful. As an eighth grader, did you ever think about water scarcity? I mean, I think it's something that a lot of us in America just take for granted that, we have it. What what is your biggest learning takeaway from this?
Um, as an eighth grader, no. Before the project, I did not think about water scarcity as much. I've been to India a lot because my parents are from there, my dad's from there, and so they have a big water problem there. It's more about contamination and things like that, but it's never really been that there's not enough from where I've been. It gave me a new perspective, especially at first because we weren't even planning on doing a project on a place where they had an issue like that. And so from the project, I've learned how obviously important water is. And then there's a lot of technology behind not just water itself, but agriculture, medicine, energy. I had this whole thing about energy. It was really funny. But it's just amazing what we learned and all the information behind it and how I can carry it into my everyday life and classes in high school.
I'm not going to take all the questions. I'm going to let some other people ask questions too, but I want to say great job, Maya, and for your teachers and your coaches and helping to guide you in this direction, because I I think your learning experience through this future city competition is something that will stay with you forever. And you can take those experiences and learning and with you, and like you said, a new perspective. So thank you for coming today. We still have plenty of time. So I'm going to let Sarah and John ask some questions.
You go ahead, Sarah, if you had a question. Okay. So my question is like, are you actually planning to like go through with your project? And like if so, like when do you think that will happen?
I don't have an exact timeline for when stuff is happening, but we have a lot. Like Miss Amici has been sending out all these spreadsheets. Like, when are you guys available? When can we go and fundraise at this event and this event? And like, there's this fair going on, so we should go and like set up a stand there. We've already done that actually a couple times at Fourth Friday and stuff. But basically, yes, that was why we made it our goal, and like we discussed this at the near beginning of the project when we first introduced to them, that the reason um well that we all decided that just besides competing in competition and maybe winning and like looking good on college apps so we can like go to Harvard or something, that we wanted to actually carry through with the mission and see how the community will change over time and how we can all grow from each other in this whole project. So we're definitely trying to keep it going. Obviously, everyone's really busy and it's a long-term project, but we have a lot of ideas in store and like we can't wait for what the future holds basically.
Yeah, I also want to say that you have a really good like project idea, and yeah.
Thank you. It's not it's a team effort. Like everyone, obviously Miss Michi, Kavita, Sam, Bardwell, everyone contributed and it just made it like how amazing. It made it what it is.
I also have like one more question. Like, how do you plan on like you said you're going to go through with it, right? So how do you plan on like funding the money?
Do you want me to take that one, Maya?
Yeah, you can start. Yeah.
So since they created this project and shared it with the Future City competition, they've been sharing with they shared with our city council and our Rotary. They've been to arts festivals. They've been to different festivals with our Westerville Education Foundation and different community events. They've been to the design, it's an innovation design project in Dublin. They've been to several, many things, and they've been collecting people that have interest. And so now as they connected with the Rotary, they have a plan to get together to do a kind of a big community event where they'll be able to raise funding for that. So it's now become not just the Future City team, but more of a community effort. So they're sharing a lot with a lot of people that can then support the development of this project, you know, as we go through. So we don't know, I guess, is the answer to that, but we think that once people understand, you know, the challenge, that hopefully they'll want to join in and be part of the solution.
Also, real quick, I have a photo from when we like met the mayor and the council and stuff that my dad took, and it's with, I don't know if you how well you can see it. That's our team, and the girl with the cardigan is the mayor, and then our little project is right there. It's just a little thing, and we have like so many photos from all the events. It's been amazing.
Is there time for any more questions?
Again, as an educator, I just see the value in it being real and in your collaboration, your critical thinking, your creative thinking, being able to present in front of the groups that you've had to present in front of are all life skills that will stay with you and help you in whatever direction that you go. So I applaud you for what you've done and say as much as you can to stick with that group and try to continue. I know schedules get busy, but helping that that community. You're changing their lives, their perspective. And again, teachers and coaches, Linda and Tina, like I know the effort that goes into, guiding these young students and finding opportunities and everything for them. And I thank you for what you've done too, because I think I wish more of this was done in the school day for all kids. Um, because I think it's that valuable that it's great as an extracurricular, but wouldn't it be great if all kids in your middle school had opportunities like this?
What a perfect segue
Yeah.
to
Okay.
say two things. Number one, the commitment that was demonstrated by Mrs. Bardwell. We went to a place called Echo, which is in Florida. And it's a place that kind of, I don't know if you know about it. If you haven't, it's really amazing. They have different ways to help clean water and do different initiatives as connected to the Sustainable Development Goals. But the commitment of this team as well was really amazing. There was one moment, I don't know if you remember this, Maya, but there was a moment when we were trying to work out the time zone challenge. So we were meeting with Kavita, who was in London at the time. And then we were also meeting with members of the community who were in Kenya at the time. And so we figured out that the sweet spot of time was 7 a.m. for us, that it would all work out without anybody getting up in the middle of the night. And so the kids were talking about like, well, what about Tuesday? Well, that won't work. Well, what about Thursday? That won't work. And then one of them said, well, what about Saturday? And they're like, no, that won't work because of this and this. And I'm sitting there in my head thinking, these are teenagers. Of course, they're not going to get up at 7 a.m. on a Saturday morning, but I didn't say anything or whatever. And then I think it might have been you, Maya, that said, well, how about Sunday? And they were like, oh, yeah, Sunday works. Let's do Sunday. And so Sunday morning at 7 a.m., this entire group of, all of them came online to meet with this community to go over some of the things. And it really just brought tears to my eyes. Like one of them was at a competition. She videoed in from there. They all got up super early. So the commitment that they've made has just been really inspiring. And then Mrs. Bardwell has shifted her curriculum as a result of this. Do you have time to share that, Mrs. Bardwell?
Very little, but I can chime in somewhat. This year, I want class.
Your audio is breaking up. I wonder if you could turn off your video and try again. Okay, she appears to have
Is
frozen.
it better?
Yeah, okay,
Not
now
any
go.
better.
Yes.
Is it? Are you able to hear me now? Okay. So I noticed that the competition had all of the standards that I cover in my class. So I wanted to try it this year to connect the future city outcomes with my science standards. And my students created a future city this year during the school year and the school day. It did find to be problematic. We weren't able to finish nearly what we were able to after school and do the science standards. So we still ended up meeting after school quite a bit. So I'm not finding how we can do both without having after school.
That was kind of hard to hear, but like what she was saying was that there was additional need for after school in addition, but she addressed all of her science standards within the Future City project. And so the students teamed up to come up with different elements of the project. They used an agile framework called design ingenuity for many of the parts of it. Then that comes from the high-tech industries. And so then the learners were connecting big ideas with concepts that they needed to learn about in the standards and then putting their own spin on those. And so because they were connecting their ideas with other things that were in nature, things that they were interested in through this design ingenuity framework, they were able to come up with some really cool innovations for this year's class that I would have never, ever thought of. But they also were inspired by the last year's Future City because they really wanted to do a real actual community. They wanted to work toward that. And so they have a student, Mrs. Bardwell has a student in her class that was part of the electrical, the whole situation with Lahaina in Hawaii. And so they designed a future city to remedy that situation because of the decimation of that city. And so they worked very hard to do that. And it was really beautiful. John, did you have a question?
Thank you. I have many questions and comments, more than we have time for. First of all, I just wanted to say how amazing and impressive this is for several reasons. First of all, it's a real world project. And I'm impressed how the group iterated. You came up with a few possible solutions and you decided why they would or would not work, and then you moved on to new potential solutions, which I think is really vital. I think sometimes professional engineers just go with the first thing they think of instead of really taking the time to work through many possible solutions. I'm also impressed that you really worked out the budgeting of this project, which is, again, a very real world kind of concern. So this wasn't just a little bookshelf project. While Maya, you were showing your slideshow, I really wanted to take the time to study your spreadsheets because I'm so interested in the nitty-gritty details. I had a couple of comments, questions about the details, and some suggestions. First of all, I wanted to suggest that you might want to get in touch with Engineers Without Borders. They are an organization, you may already know about them. Everyone is shaking their head. Maya, did you want to comment about that?
Around November, like midway through our project, we did meet with them when it wasn't really for the water problem. I think it was more just for like the structures of the housing and stuff, residential office buildings. We had farm scrapers, which are like agricultural horizontal buildings and things like that. It was more infrastructure, but we did meet with a couple of members. I think it was like they're from them for a bit. It was for one meeting. Yeah.
I had a question about it looked from your spreadsheet like the most expensive item is the borehole. Is that correct?
I'm checking the spreadsheet because it's been a second. Yeah, it's the borehole itself.
So how is the borehole created? I assume you use some sort of big equipment, earth-moving equipment of some sort.
I can try to chime in if you're able to hear me this time. Okay, great. We've been working with a company, Design Outreach, that works exclusively in Africa, and they have people that they hire in country that dig the borehole and do many of the steps. And unfortunately, because of the great need in the country, in the many countries in Africa, the group Design Outreach does not have many companies that they feel comfortable with, reach out to, can rely on. But they did have one group that was honest and truthful and able to do many projects with them. So we are connecting with that group that Design Outreach feels comfortable to do the work. And then they are surveying the land and hopefully doing the hydrogeological study for us to be able to dig the borehole eventually.
Thank you, Tina. And last question I have is there a hope to engage or a hope to bring the solution to more than one community?
Yes, in working with the Rotary, we're hoping to have it a sustainable project, a fundraising project that continues with their connection, the Rotary, and fundraise for an unlimited amount of communities. Pretty exciting.
Thank you so much.
Watching these learners get in touch with people that were agricultural specialists, community health specialists, people that were understand things about tidal power and different kind of power sources. Just there were so many different experts that were connecting with these students to help inform their decisions. It was really amazing. And I do want to say that Kavita Tanna, the global vitality coach, cannot be here because she is actually currently with the community right now, and so the Wi-Fi is spotty there, or she would be here joining us today. So thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for coming on. Great job. And if you have further updates or you continue with this project, we'd love you to come back on another global innovation field trip and give us an update.
Thank you so much.
Thank you and good luck.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.